Clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, clean earth to live. These are no more natural. Instead, what is natural is toxic air smothering life, toxic water killing life, toxic earth burning life. That's our crude reality of urban life. People are well aware of this real threat to health, yet Indian cities across the length and breadth of the country face a national air emergency.
So just imagine breathing toxic fumes. It's not difficult for most of us because we do breathe toxic fumes in our daily life in and out. We are living a very different life in our cities, unfortunately in our country, so much so that we don't even complain about it anymore till the time a disaster pushes our tolerance levels. Like in the case of the fire that took place at Kochi's Brahmapuram waste treatment plant that has been raging for over a week now. The Indian Navy and the state officials have been engaged in firefighting operations with toxic fumes shrouding Kochi city. The residents have now been advised to stay indoors and to wear a mask. Senior citizens have been complaining of suffocation and dizziness.
The Queen of Arabian Sea under a thick blanket of smoke. Kochi is living its worst nightmare. A fire that started at the Brahmapuram solid waste management site on the 2nd March is still raging. The Indian Navy and the state administration are engaging in firefighting operations.
You can see in the visuals the smoke that's coming out of the fire is covering the entire area. It's not just here. You can see in the that end corner where it's completely filled with smoke. The fire has not been fully doused. What we are understanding is the fire is right now under control, but you can see patches of fire here and there, and it will take another week, is what we are understanding, to completely douse the fire.
The Navy has deployed several helicopters to douse the fire that has made the city air toxic. People in Kochi and its suburbs are angry at the failure to control the fire. Schools and shopping malls in the region were shut for 2 days.
ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എല്ലാവർക്കും ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടാണ്. എല്ലാ പിള്ളേർക്കും വയസ്സായവർക്കും എല്ലാവർക്കും ശ്വാസം മുട്ടും ചുമയും. ഞങ്ങൾക്കൊന്നും ഇവിടെ നിൽക്കാൻ വയ്യ ഈ സമയത്ത് ഇത്തിരി കുറവുണ്ട്. വൈകുന്നേരം 3 മണിയൊക്കെ ആകുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും പിന്നെയും തുടങ്ങും. കാറ്റ് വരുന്ന അനുസരിച്ചിട്ട് പുക കൂടിക്കൊണ്ടുവരും. രാത്രി ഒന്നും ഫാനൊന്നും ഇടാൻ പാടില്ല. വീട്ടിൽ എല്ലാ പുക അകത്തോട്ട് കയറി വരും. അപ്പോൾ 2 ദിവസമായിട്ട് പിള്ളേരൊന്നും ഉറങ്ങിയിട്ടില്ല.
एक हफ्ते हो गया, अभी तक खत्म नहीं हुआ. हमेशा रात में भी आता है, दोपहर को आता है, शाम को आता है. इसलिए बहुत मुश्किल है रात में सोने को और बहुत कष्ट होता है.
Heads are rolling. Ernakulam District Collector Renu Raj has been shunted out. NSK Umesh has taken charge as the new collector.
Our mechanism is working together. A coordination system is here. All departments are working together and under the leadership of the mayor and the local MLA, collector, police commissioner. All of us are very active. We hope the rest of the 20% can be controlled within a few time.
But the smoke continues to emerge, the toxic fumes. It's the toxic fumes that coming out of the plastic waste that got burnt here. And here, it's been a long process. It's been 8 days of all the officials, that includes firefighters as well as police and also the Indian Navy, trying hard to put off this smoke that's been very toxic, causing a lot of trouble to people living close by.
The Kerala High Court racked district officials for waste mismanagement. In a scathing observation, the court said Kochi has become a gas chamber. A week after fire started at Brahmapuram, the people of Kochi don't know when the nightmare will be over. With Shibimol in Kochi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, unfortunately, the real brunt of this disaster is being borne by those locals who are living in the surrounding areas, from the toddlers who are staying there to the senior citizens. People are speaking about the lack of civic apathy amongst the authorities with regards to this menace. There is no long-term solution in sight, rather than just empty promises that are being made, especially to those who are at the moment not able to breathe clean air.
Ashwin is preparing for his 12th board exams. But the smoke coming from the fire at the Brahmapuram plant causes trouble for him. The toxic fumes make him sick. His school is also covered with smoke.
ഉച്ച കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടാണ് പുക കൂടുതലും തന്നെ അതുകൊണ്ട് അങ്ങനെ പഠിക്കാനൊന്നും പറ്റാറില്ല പിന്നെ രാത്രിയൊക്കെ ഭയങ്കര പുകയായിരിക്കും പുറത്തേക്ക് ഇറങ്ങാൻ പറ്റൂല അകത്ത് തന്നെ ഇരിക്കണേ ഫുൾ ടൈം പുറത്തേക്കൊന്നും അങ്ങനെ ഇറങ്ങാറില്ല പഠിക്കാനൊന്നും പറ്റില്ല ശ്വാസം മുട്ടലും തലവേദനയൊക്കെയാണ് പിന്നെ അങ്ങനെ പഠിക്കാനൊന്നും പറ്റാറില്ല ഈ പുകയൊക്കെ ആയിരുന്നു.
Srija wanted to move out of this locality but decided against it so that Ashwin could complete his studies uninterrupted. Yet as his mother, she repents her decision to stay back.
ഇവിടെ നല്ല കാറ്റ് വന്നിട്ട് നല്ല ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ട് ഈ കൊച്ചുങ്ങളെ കൊണ്ട് ഇവിടെ താമസിക്കാൻ പറ്റണില്ല രാത്രിയാവുമ്പോ അതിനെല്ലാം ശ്വാസം മുട്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ഇവിടെ കിടക്കണത് ഇതൊക്കെ ആരോട് പറയാനോ മുട്ടി വെച്ചിട്ട് വാ ആരും ഞങ്ങളുടെ വേദന ആരും കാണില്ല.
Close to Ashwin's house, 5-year-old Mivara hasn't gone to school for the last few days. Her grandmother struggles to keep the toddler engaged in the house in this toxic situation.
ഇവിടെ പുകയാണ് അപ്പം അതുകൊണ്ട് സ്കൂളിൽ പോണില്ല അകത്തിരിക്കാൻ പാടാണ് അപ്പം അതിന് ഫോൺ കൊടുക്കും അങ്ങനെ കളിച്ച് അത് വെച്ച് നോക്കിയൊക്കെ ഇരിക്കും കുറച്ച് നേരം ആകുമ്പോൾ പുറത്തിറങ്ങും പിന്നെ ഒരു 1.5 വയസ്സായ ഒരു മോനുണ്ട് അവനിപ്പോൾ ഉറങ്ങണം അവനെ കൊണ്ടാണ് വലിയ പാടാ പിള്ളേർക്ക് ചൂട് കൂടിയിട്ട് അകത്തിരിക്കാനും പറ്റൂല 2 ദിവസം മുന്നേ രാത്രി ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു ഇന്നലെ അത് നല്ല സ്മെല്ലും ഉണ്ട് ഇടയ്ക്കിടയ്ക്ക് നല്ല സ്മെല്ലാ തന്നെ.
Mivara's grandfather is angry at this complete mismanagement.
ചുമ ഉണ്ട് ശരിക്കും പിന്നെ കഫക്കെട്ടുണ്ട് അല്ലാണ്ട് ഇപ്പം ഒന്നും വേറെ പറയത്തൊക്കെ ഒന്നുമില്ല പിന്നെ ഈ പുക വരുന്ന സമയത്താണെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് ശ്വസിക്കാനൊക്കെ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ടാവും ഭയങ്കര സ്മെല്ലുമായിരിക്കും വാതിലൊക്കെ അടച്ചിട്ടിരുന്നാൽ തന്നെ ഒരു ഇതുമില്ല പിന്നെയും പരിക്കകത്തൊക്കെ മുറിക്കകത്തൊക്കെ ഇതിൻ്റെ പുകയൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവും സ്മെല്ലുണ്ടാവും.
A week after the fire started at Brahmapuram, people of Kochi don't know when this nightmare will end.
Now, in this hour of disaster, the NDRF and the Navy personnel who are actually engaged in controlling the fire are the real heroes. My colleague Shivarur spoke with such real-life heroes. Listen in.
As a pilot, you're always prepared for all kinds of things, all kinds of eventualities. You're practically sleeping with one eye open, I imagine, because you can be called for any kind of mission. Tell us about this one, a huge dump yard fire on the outskirts of Kochi. How did it begin? How did you guys go off to fight this fire?
Yeah, good afternoon, Shiv. The moment we got an information regarding the fire, the Navy sprung into action. We had a control room which was set up at the command, and thereafter, once we got our orders, we went into the air straight away and undertook an air recce of the area to understand the nuances of these operations. The recce mainly was to see what is the expanse of the fire, the wind, prevailing wind conditions, the bird activity, any obstructions nearby, and most importantly for the firefighting we required a water source. Luckily, once we undertook the air recce, we found a water source very near to the scene of fire, which was around 1 to 2 nautical miles. And however, at the same time, we had the various challenges as there was intense bird activity near the being at a dump yard. It was very natural. Thereafter, we had high tension cables which were running along the dump yard, and they were just next to the dump yard, which meant we have to initially fly high, thereafter gradually come down before we disperse the water onto the fire. Additionally, the main challenge was the heavy smoke in the area, because we had to keep ourselves safe, the aircraft safe and the crew, and still carry out the missions.
Commander Antaryami, flying through that smoke, birds everywhere, electricity cables nearby. I mean, this is every aviator's nightmare. I mean, you are trained to, fly in clear visibility, away from any obstacles, and here you're ordered to fly, into a really, really risky airspace. What was that like, flying in that?
It was a challenging shift, to say the least, because as you said, you are trained for a different environment. However, this was the real mission, wherein the challenges were, as brought out by Commander Sunil also, you heard them, flying through thick smoke, close to the high tension wire, in the vicinity of a lot of birds, was actually a challenging task. And but the job was very well specified to us, and the entire command was at it, and the aim was clear. So we found out the methodology, how to go about it, and we could undertake quite a few drops, which were, in assistance to the local agencies who were already fighting the fire. So overall, it was a challenging task. However, with a lot of people involved, I'll say the ground crew, the station, when we were preparing, everybody put in their best efforts together, and then the outcome was what you saw on the subsequent days.
Now, if you think what's happening in Kochi is just a disaster or an accident, you really need to think again, because the national capital at the moment is no better. Every year it encounters one disaster or the other. There's a disaster of a fire or a landfill collapse, and every winter the entire NCR region chokes with smoggy air. And year after year we do stories on the frothing Yamuna. The national capital remains one of the worst polluted cities in the world.
Every year, Delhi dreads the winter. It becomes a gas chamber due to very poor air quality index or AQI. A recent report by the Center for Science and Environment gives kudos to the city for improved air quality compared to previous years. But is that good news for Delhi?
There has been slight improvement in the air quality, but it's still very bad. For instance, the average for this winter was 150 microgram per cubic meter, which is 2.5 times the standard, which is 60. But it's no longer 200 or 220, which it was like 3-4 years back. So there is some improvement, but we are very far away from a stage where we can say it's not a gas chamber. And the improvement is very gradual.
A report by the Center for Science and Environment did say that although this winter saw a slight improvement in the city's air quality index as compared to last year's reports, but there needs to be a combined effort from other states as well, especially speaking about the stubble burning in states like Haryana and Punjab that also become a contributing factor to Delhi's overall deteriorating air quality index.
If Delhi can survive its air pollution, can its water be safe? Yamuna river is so polluted that people bathe in froth during every autumn festivity. Our reality check yielded no hope either.
The river Yamuna is no stranger to politics. Every year during the Chhath Puja season, the Yamuna is made to look beautiful, cleaner than it is. And to hide the froth this time, the Delhi government also used a chemical called silicone defoamers to reduce the froth over the surface of the Yamuna. While that is just a temporary measure, it is for anyone to see that the Yamuna continues to be polluted and continues to show froth despite government's many attempts to hide them.
The implementation of or enforcement of the rules and regulation has to be very much strict. First of all, the sewage treatment plants, which are approximately 35 in the city of Delhi, but only 9 are abiding with the, or by 9 are only meeting the discharge standards of CPCP. So that kind of inconsistency is there in the running of sewage treatment plants also. So first of all, we need to fix this problem wherein a lot of untreated sewage is going into the river.
Every year, the waste landfills of the national capital are witness to disasters like fire or sudden collapse. 100% biomining of legacy waste is the solution to the problem of frequent fires at dump sites in Delhi. But the process of biomining of legacy waste at the Ghazipur dump site is very slow. Only 7% of the total legacy waste has been processed there since July 2019. The 28-hectare dump site at Ghazipur has been used for dumping municipal solid waste since 1984. It crossed its carrying capacity long ago.
The Municipal Corporation of Delhi elections between the Aam Aadmi Party and BJP were fought over this mountain of garbage. At the Ghazipur landfill site that has around 140 lakh ton of legacy waste, only 16% of that has been removed or done away with by February this year. It's going to be very difficult when the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal says that we'll see a garbage and landfill-free Delhi by 2024. When you look at images that come out from the Municipal Corporation of Delhi with Aam Aadmi Party and BJP members exchanging kicks, slaps and blows instead of coming together to solve the very problem that they promised the Delhiites to work together on.
Both the Delhi government and the centre have installed smog towers to tackle the air pollution menace. The Aam Aadmi Party government promised to clean Yamuna by 2024, which today seems a tall one to fulfill, and the dump sites of the national capital will collapse before it can be cleaned. That's the Delhi environment in a nutshell.
Now, the city of Bengaluru is considered the most prosperous city that has the most number of tech multinaires living in it. Yet, its air pollution levels is very high. The lake water is toxic and the city is overflowing with garbage.
A study by the Centre for Science and Environment found that Bengaluru saw the fastest worsening of PM 2.5 levels and experienced the worst peak pollution this winter in the last 4 years.
This is going to get far worse because the Chief Minister has announced just yesterday that he is going to extend the metro project by another 100 kilometers. So already you see the construction of the metro, how much dust it has generated. And in the north of Bangalore, Dr. Shivram Karant layout is being pushed through in such brazen manner that it is destroying the watershed of the Arkavati river, and the dust plumes from there are affecting all the areas north of Bangalore. Meanwhile, we also have heard that there are plans to propose another 12 flyovers. And then there is this whole infrastructure business that is, pushing towards Devanadi.
Development always has its pros and cons. Construction of more than 12 flyovers and extending metro to every nook and corner of Bengaluru is also causing major dust pollution, which also leads for air pollution. The development of Bengaluru comes at a cost. Environmentalists criticize that the government have to take enough measure to control these kind of air pollution in the days to come.
Choking on polluted air, Bengaluru also struggles with toxic water pollution. Images of frothing Bellandur Lake have become iconic with the city.
Talking about the frothing in the city, the environmentalists feel that nitrate and phosphate used in the detergent soaps have led for these kind of frothing in the lakes like Bengaluru. Bellanduru Lake, which is one of the largest lakes in Bengaluru, had witnessed these kinds of extensive frothing. And environmentalists also believe that government should come up of revegetation, which will also help in reducing this frothing.
You and I have not stopped using nitrates and phosphates because there is simply no effort at all at the manufacturing end to cut down their involvement in the production of detergents. So as a result, it's not going to come down. That's as simple as that. Plus, we also have destroyed our Raja Kalways, which used to actually build a lot of dissolved oxygen, bring down the biological oxygen demand, and the plants which were in the Raja Kalways have an enormous capacity with their root structures to absorb these nutrients. What BBMP is doing is turning them all into concrete channels. They're destroying the natural Kalways. They're destroying the ecosystems and turning them into engineered constructs. As a result, this water which is flowing through 800 kilometers of this Kalways will rush into these small lakes and eventually end up in one of these large lakes like Bellandur and Bairmangla and so on. And when they do that, they basically come with such rapidity and with so much load of detergents and nitrates and phosphates that they will definitely froth.
The air is dangerous and the water is toxic, and there is no respite for people of Bengaluru on land either. According to BBMP records, the city generates 5,500 to 6,000 metric tons of waste every day. It has 7 landfills and 6 waste processing units, none of which have been upgraded since 2015. There are 150 dry waste collection centers, which can handle only 1 ton of waste on an average.
Talking about the garbage, Bengaluru is close to Kochi. If the increasing heat leads, there might be a case which might replicate which was seen in Kochi as well as in Bengaluru as well. And the environmentalists feel that there is a solution where a revegetation can even help segregating of these garbages in the city of Bengaluru.
Bengaluru is waiting for its civic authorities to wake up and work round the clock for years to come to bring any change around.
What's happening in Kochi or in Delhi or in Bengaluru are not exceptional cases. They are part of an overall narrative of how polluted our cities and how ill-equipped our civic authorities are to handle all that pollution that is surrounding us. It's a national emergency situation that no one is waking up to, but we are keeping a very close eye on it, and we will keep you bringing more such stories. For the moment, that's all the time we have on this edition of the Inside Story. News and updates keep on continuing on the other side. Keep on watching India Today.